Okay, so sakto no. Dali man sila. Yesterday we were up to the slide 26. So we'll continue to now from slide 27. Okay, so here we have the design outputs. So first we have the engineer's report. So this report contains special design provisions as well as a summary of the design standards used. So makita na ninyo ang details ani sa ato ang reference. So unsa may nasa design provisions. So nadara ang demand requirements. So pilay kinahanglan na volume considering your design horizon or design period. Justification of any treatment process adopted. So kung naka-i-incorporate nga treatment process, you have to justify why there is a need. So dili ta pwede basta-basta makabutang lang. For example, sedimentation tank. So you have to justify that pag-test nimo ni sobra ang levels of turbidity sa allowed. So you have to intervene through the process of sedimentation. So inana siya. So there should be a justification if you will incorporate a certain treatment process sa imuhang system. Soil conditions as a basis for foundation design, especially for mga bugat kaayo na surely bugat magid kayo ang ato ang water no, especially for huge tanks to hold huge volumes of water. So this is very critical because water is heavy. Distribution system analysis and source description and justification. And then we have general layout. So this is usually the first page of the detailed plans showing the name of the barangay or town kung asa siya na-locate, the CBO or agency in charge of the water supply facilities, the location of the major facilities like imong source, mga reservoir, and coverage of pipe network. And then we have the detailed plans. So these are called the blueprints or working drawings. So I know you're very familiar with this one. So ang design sa imong mga facilities nadara naka-incorporate sa detailed plans. So location, elevations, mga schematic diagrams, dimensions, and elevations of all facilities sulod sa imuhang system. And then we have the specifications. So this always accompany a set of working drawings. It refers to the type of material to be used, installation and disinfection procedures, mga methodology, and so mga ang levels ang quality sa workmanship. So mo na imong ibutang sa specifications. All right. So we then have the bill of quantities and cost estimates. So BOQs are prepared during the detailed engineering phase. So after nimo paghimo og plans, then you will do or you will you will produce the bill of quantities, and then that will be used for the bid documents or basis for the contractors na magbid. And cost estimates, this will be the basis of the estimate for the bid on the part of the contractors. Okay, so usual components of a water supply system. So very complex ang water supply systems and mag-vary na siya no depende sa need or situation sa usa ka project. So as other infrastructures, every project, every water supply system na project is unique. Depende sa iyang situation. But kani akong i-present sa inyo, these are the most common ones. So first, we have the source of water. So always gini siya na So this refers to the place from where water is obtained. The source should be reliable and have a minimum number of impurities. It should have more charge than that of demand. So kinahanglan nga kung pila demand, way more pa ang iyahang kumbaga iyang yield para ma dili nato siya ma-deplete over time. So the source may be surface or subsurface. So kung may kag surface, so maning mga rivers, lakes, although that's very rare din in the Philippines because water treatment for surface water is should be very thorough kay exposed man siya. So usually there is ato ang mga sources is from subsurface na source, so gikan sa wells or spring, and para minimal lang ang treatment because na may natural purification nga gakahitabo as water seeps through the soil fabric. So, mana siya na there is ato preferred gid ang groundwater, especially for rural water supply systems para um mas cheap ang atong system to construct and maintain, no, para naman po na siya effect sa imuhang water bills on your tariff. So with rural water supply, we're always aiming for a system that is affordable on the part of the end users or consumers. And then we have the intake. An intake collects the water from the source and feeds it to the transmission line. So meron siya gikan sa source dito din isulod sa intake ang imuhang water at ay sa din siya i-transmit. The basic functions of intake are to ensure required water and reduce sediment entry, to check debris entry along with water entering and preventing the entry of ice. This one is not dili ni siya relatable dito sa aton. To collect water from the source and feed it to the transmission line. And then we have the pump. So dili tanan water supply systems no kinahanglan og pump. So na mga water systems na walay pump, especially for those na there is a significant difference in elevation between the source and the service area. So in that situation, most likely we will have enough hydrostatic pressure to power the water supply system. But it's not always the case. So, may mga scenario pod na same-same ra. So, for that, we will have to use a pump. So, a pump is a lifting device required to lift water from a source which is operated with the help of energy. So, kinahanglan kumbaga og boost or tuklod ang tubig. We will use a pump for that. Pero kung taas kay ang source, so kaya lang sa gravity lang. So, pwede lang nga wala siya pump. So it is essential when the area to be supplied is located at a higher elevation than that of the source of supply. And then we have the transmission mains. So these are the lines nga dagko kayo gid og size because mo ni sila ang mo convey sa water gikan sa source padulong sa treatment plant. So na different types of conduit, no, but there is ato pipelines good ang ginagamit na because pressured pipelines man ang ato usual way for water supply systems here in the Philippines. Water from the transmission main is not given to users. So moagi pa siya treatment. So from source to treatment, that is transmission main. Okay, so we have here the interruption chamber, the chamber which is provided in the transmission lines to prevent bursting pipes due to excessive pressure. So this is known as an interruption chamber. So its function is to release high pressure or convert it into atmospheric pressure. So this one is required in rural water supply systems so that ma-expose ang tubig sa air to relieve pressure, no. So that is the function of the interruption chamber. And then we have the treatment or purification or treatment plant. The raw water contains various types of impurities. So maybe you will contest na ha kung gikan siya sa natural environment, ma'am, dili din na siya pure nga water. So the answer is there can still be impurities, no, because there are naturally occurring substances that can mix with our water. Like pinaka-common is iron, manganese. So kana sila usual na sa tubig. And in excess, dili pod siya maayo sa health sa tao, no, if present siya sa atong tubig. In kumbaga grabe ka dako ang iyahang level sa ato ang water, and we do not want that. So that is the reason why we have treatment plants for that reason. So, the objective of water treatment is to provide and maintain water that is hygienically safe, palatable, meaning dili siya acceptable ang taste and odor, and aesthetically attractive. Grabe sa aesthetically attractive na, pero di jud na to maano na naman gyud psychology sa consumer. So, wala may individual nga gusto mo konsumo og tubig nga medyo lubog-lubog. So that is also one consideration in delivering water. Okay, so that is all for treatment or purification. And then we have the reservoir. So this one is a common misconception because tungod kay diri sa Philippines, we always have reservoir. We think that reservoirs are a must, or kumbaga kanang dili siya pwede nga mawala sa water supply systems. But actually, there are water supply systems that do not have reservoir. So, pwede na siya, no? So, reservoirs are components of a water supply system that are necessary for the balance of demand and reservoir demand and supply. So as we know, gavari man ang supply of demand, di ba? So the reservoir serves as a buffer. So kung naay difference sa duha, siya mo, kumbaga siya mo bridge sa gap between sa demand ug sa supply. Okay, so we have here the control valves. So they are provided in the pipelines to control and regulate the flow of water. So and then we have the distribution system. So basically, these are the pipelines purpose for the distribution of the water sa dito na sa mismo nga mga sa community. So siya na dayon ang ma-deliver for the different uses padulong sa mga residences, mga industries, commercial buildings, public use. So that is the function of the distribution system. And then we have the public stand post. So this is the most frequently used component of the water supply system, especially in rural areas, no? Nga taman lang ta sa level 2, meaning taman lang ta sa common standpipes nga expected to cater multiple households. So yeah, that is public stand post. All right. Ten 30. Okay, so we're now on our second topic, the nature and importance of water. So, water is one of the most abundant substances on earth, and without which life is said cannot exist. So, as we know, water is one of our biological needs. There is no way for people, humans, even animals and plants to survive, let alone thrive without water. So it covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface. So majority, sa ato ang planet is covered with water bodies, and water even exists in the air that we breathe, no, in the form of gas, vapor, no, and it is considered as a universal solvent. Tungod kay daghan og mga substances na ma-dissolve sa water. So um, yeah, that's why it is called a universal solvent. In pure water, a tasteless, odorless, and colorless liquid is never found in nature. So maybe this one might, um, kumbaga, matingala mo ani na fact, no, but actually, it's really impossible to find pure water in nature. Sa pag may ka nga never touched na lugar, still, because before mo surface manggod ang tubig sa ato ang ground, like in the form of springs, moagi siya sa ato ang soil, no? And our soil has naturally occurring elements and substances nga nanagid sa iyaha naturally. So pag agi sa imuhang tubig, na parts ato, or na mga substances dito na ma-mix sa imong tubig, and then it becomes part of our water, no? So it is really impossible to find pure water like 100% H2O in nature. So you still have to do methods to get a distilled water, no? So special methods like distillation, nga kuhaon nimo katong vapor lang gid sa water and then ipa-condense siya balik. So naatara na siyang mahisgatan sa atong water treatment nga topic. So yeah, that's it for pure water, no? So you cannot find that in nature. Physical and chemical nature of water. So, water in liquid form is most dense at 4 degrees Celsius, and at the same temperature, pure water has a specific gravity of 1. So, basta matingala mo what is the relevance of 4 degrees. So, ang mga scientists, dadto sila ni benchmarks of 4 degrees Celsius because at this point, the water is stable because water is heaviest at 4 degrees Celsius. So, you already know sa specific gravity, no? So, ang ato ang usual good na basis for specific gravity is water. So that is the reason why its specific gravity is 1. The density of pure water is constant at a particular temperature. So ang density sa water, as long as it's pure, 100% H2O, it will remain at a certain temperature. It will only change given na mag-change po ng temperature. Water is the only substance on earth that exists in nature in all three physical states of matter. No? So we have the liquid form of water, the liquid water, the solid form of water, ice, and the gaseous form of water, which is vapor. So all of these three are different physical states of matter, na ano siya, naturally occurring sa tubig alone. So it is the only substance on earth that has that special attribute. When water freezes, it expands rapidly, adding about 9% by volume. So, what happens? It becomes less dense than liquid water. And that is the reason why ice floats on liquid water. And then the specific heat of water in the metric system is 1 calorie. So, kaming specific heat, this is the energy required to heat up 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So, kinahanglan og 1 calorie. So, in comparison to other liquids, that is, mas dako siya requirement. So, kinahanglan siya sakto jud na heat, sakto na amount sa heat para ma-raise iyang temperature. And then we have here the uses and importance of water. So we have the first, the consumptive water use. So this is water removed from available supplies without return to a water resource system. So like for example, kanang water nga atong gina-consume. So we atong gina-drink or ginasagol nato sa ato ang mga pagkaon. So gina-consume nato siya. So that is consumptive water use because we do not return it to a water resource system like sa rivers, di ba? And then we have the non-consumptive water uses. So this is a water use that can be treated and returned as surface water. So example for this is the industrial use. Usually sa mga factories, they use water for cleaning. So after using the water, it becomes wastewater. So i-treat lang nila and then ibalik lang po yun nila sa atong bodies of water. So that is an example of non-consumptive water use. Ay, okay. Hydrologic cycle. Wait lang ha. Pangitaan sa nakakong slides hydrology. So mag-quick recap lang to sa hydrologic cycle because this is also covered by water supply system. Hydrology. So, okay, so masegue lang ta kadjot sa hydrologic cycle na. Just a quick recap. So I know you have just taken your hydrology. So as you already know, no, kanang water nga imong inom sa imuhang water bottle. So that is water that's been here for millions, even billions of years, no? And we do not know kanang imong giinom gikan pa din na sa naulan din na before sa Pyramid of Egypt, or was it once part of the blood of an animal na wala na karon, no, like mammoths, dinosaurs, singot baka siya sa dinosaur before? We really don't know, no, because water is, it's not truly lost actually. So even if we consume it, mubalik ra magagyapon siya sa environment. So kaning water nga atong kakita karon is really historical because more magigyapon ng tubig sa una, gi-cycle lang yun siya. So that is the very core of the hydrologic cycle, no. Ang atong tubig, it's never truly lost. So convert lang siya, no, through different hydrologic processes. So here we will be discussing about the hydrologic cycle. So hydrologic cycle is the cycle that the water in our planet goes through. So it is endless and it has no beginning nor end. So it doesn't really have a starting point, but for the sake of discussion, usually mag-start siya sa evaporation. But actually wala gyud siya starting point, and all of these hydrologic processes can happen at the same time. So unsa man ni naka-animate man ni. Okay, so for the sake of discussion, we'll just start with evaporation. So, water evaporates from oceans, streams, soil, moisture, and snow due to the heat provided by solar radiation. So, the main catalyst good for hydrologic cycle is our source of life, no? The sun. So, it is the sun that triggers the hydrologic cycle due to the process of evaporation. So, once nga ang water ma-expose gani siya sa source of energy, source of heat, like the sun. So it converts into its gaseous form. We call it vapor. So vapor is less dense than our natural air, no? So magtak ang kag tubig and then ug mo boil na gani siya, di ka kakitag steam nga muna og padulong sa ubos, no? It's because vapor or the gaseous form of water is less dense than the natural air. So what happens from your fluid mechanics, it will really rise up, no? So less dense nga fluids musaka and then musettle pod ang denser na mga um, fluids. So due to that, ang vapor musaka sa atong atmosphere. So that is a process of evaporation. So ang pag-convert sa liquid water into gaseous form. So, water vapor results from the evaporation of water. It reaches high up into the atmosphere and then condensation occurs. So, once na masaka siya sa atong atmosphere, syempre, mas taas ang elevation, mas mubo ang ato ang temperature na expected because less man ang pressure sa taas, no? So, from your physics, kung less ang pressure, expected po na less ang temperature. So, pag tagbo sa vapor sa taas o cooler na temperature, uh, the the nature of water is that it condenses back into its liquid form. So that is the process of condensation. And then as water vapor reaches higher, it becomes cooler. And cold air cannot hold as much water vapor as warm air can. So as the air cools, it becomes saturated. So pagka-saturate niya, it condenses and then clouds form. So while much of the clouds remain above the oceans, a part of them are transported to the land areas by the wind. So kaning pag move sa clouds sa atong vapor nga na-form sa taas through the action of the wind, this is what we call the hydrologic process of transportation. So that is the reason why much of our vapor was generated from oceans and huge bodies of water, but we still experience mga heavy nga mga rainfall or precipitation that is a landmass because they are carried by the wind pasulod inland. And then, when the air can no longer hold all the condensed water vapor, excess amounts precipitate or change from gas to liquid. So, of course, no, from your hydrology, na the conditions na kinahanglan para mo precipitate siya. So, once na ma-meet tong na mga conditions, so mobalik na dayon ang water padulong sa ground. Now, raindrops may evaporate back into the atmosphere even when falling. So, it is possible for evaporation and precipitation to happen at the same time. And then another part may be intercepted by vegetation, structures, and other such surface modifications. So, um, interception is when water cannot go back to the ground because there is some sort of obstruction, like surface modifications like mga pavements, airports, sa pa ba? Mga basta mga nga na mga concreted areas and even mga dense nga vegetation like kanang sa mga rainforest can also act as an interceptors. Water that reaches the ground enters the earth's surface through infiltration, which enhances the moisture content of the soil. So infiltration is when water enters the ground. So this is the hydrologic process that supports our flora, no? Atong mga vegetations, mga plants, atong mga trees, mga forests. So this is the hydrologic process that is very crucial for this um, living things. And then water that infiltrates the ground fills the spaces between sediments and cracks in the rock and flows slowly as groundwater. So na din tayo ginatawag na groundwater. So this is the water storage underneath the ground, and groundwater is dynamic, meaning it flows, no? Um, and this is due to the action of gravity, of course. But of course, it is way slower than a stream flow. Tungod kay na may obstruction in the form of the soil fabric. So water has to seep through the voids. So mana siya nga slower gyud ang movement sa groundwater, but there is movement. The precipitation reaching the ground surface after meeting the needs of infiltration and evaporation moves down the natural slope over the surface and through a network of gullies, streams, and rivers to reach the ocean. The groundwater may come to the surface through springs. So springs are natural na mga formations, no? Well, dili na sila man-made. So they are just really a work of nature and other outlets. So sa high ma-access na tong groundwater kung mag-construct tag well, that is already man-made, but springs are natural. The portion of the precipitation by which a variety of paths above and below the surface of the earth reaches the stream channels called runoff. So water that flows, we call that runoff, no? But specifically for water that flows over land, that is surface runoff. But runoff can still happen below the ground because groundwater flows. That is also runoff. But when we say surface runoff, that is specific for water that flows over the surface. So once may mo na po siyang parts sa stream, so rivers, brooks, so it becomes stream flow. When groundwater fills in all the empty spaces underground, it reaches an impenetrable layer of rock where it percolates for hundreds or even thousands of years before din siya mo resurface. So, mastora na siya dadto. Vegetation sends a portion of the water from under the ground surface back to the atmosphere through the process of transpiration. So, apil ang ato ang flora na gyapon sila role sa hydrologic process because they also emit water from their leaves. So before, ang mga scientists, dili nila ni gina-consider. So na sila kakakita ng mga errors sa ilahang estimation sa water balance. And then from case studies, din nila na, from research, pa din nila na kita na tungod day sa transpiration. Kay significant di ay ang role sa transpiration or dako-dako Japon, significant Japon na volume ang undergo sa process of transpiration. So it really has to be considered. So karon, gina-consider na siya alongside evaporation. Yeah, so that's it for hydrologic cycle. So now you know, no, that water is really historical. So every time nga mo inom ka sa imong tubig, that is water that carries background or stories, no? Billions of years in the making a history and nga tubig. So it's very amazing. Sa balikon sa nakong daan na presentation. Okay, so we have here the factors that alter the water cycle. So there are many factors that have an impact on the normal workings of the water cycle. And if tinagsaon ninyo ni sila, this is obviously human activities, no? So it's a cold hard fact na medyo tay tendency, no, na destructive ang atong activities. So that is the reason why it's very important that we manage well tanan nato activities, that we do not have negative impact on the environment. So first factor is the extent of agricultural and industry activities. So these two sectors are very demanding in terms of water consumption. And aside from that, kung dili pod nila ma-manage og sakto ilang waste, dako kay silang potential to pollute the water and affect the water quality, no? So from there magdomino na dayon na siya. Deforestation and forestation. So deforestation has an impact on our hydrological cycle, and deforested areas are prone to erosion, and that um, affects consequently our water quality. Aside from that, ang water absorption pod, ang water infiltration is better basta dense ang presence of vegetation, and that helps our hydrologic process. So yeah, that is for deforestation and forestation. Next, we have the construction of dams. So, pag mo construct of dams, it really can affect the natural flow of water, no? So, gina-alter ba na to iyahang course or ato siyang gina-hold. So, maapektuhan gyud katong mga downstream nga mga aquifers, possibly medyo mo ubos ang ilahang storage, and kato pong mga ecosystems na present sa ubos o muminus ang flow sa natural na flow sa water, can really also cause mortalities, deaths, no, sa ato ang um, mga sani present na mga living organisms sa ato ang water. And once na na mortality, of course na decomposition, and that also affects the quality of our water. Next is the amount of water abstracted from surface and groundwater. So basically, how much water do we withdraw from the natural source? That really affects, no, especially if abusuhan siya. If we are taking more than the rate by which gaka recharge ang ato ang storage, there is really a huge chance eventually nga ma-deplete nato ang atong natural resource. So di man siya ingon nga nawala na ang tubig. Naara gid gihapon siya, pero tungod kay mas paspas man atong pagkuha kaysa pag-recharge sa ato ang tubig, there is a huge chance na dili na niya makater ato ang rate of extraction. And then, of course, the effects of urbanization, especially in the context of um, concrete, no, or mga areas na impenetrable sa water. So, um, that is really um, a huge contributor to um, flash floods, no, mga floods. Um, Kaning presence aning concreted areas like pavements, roads, mga dense na presence of buildings, this really affects the process of infiltration. And of course, from there, since connected naman ito ng hydrologic process, maapektuhan po ang uban. So, maapektuhan po ang pag-replenish sa imuhang groundwater storage kung wala kayo or minus kayo mong infiltration process tungod kay nanay naka-obstruct nga land cover. So, aside from that also, ang napoy ka ng angle sa water pollution, no? Once gani nga ang usa ka lugar, there is more population, there is also more waste generated. So, that is also something that affects the water. So, those are the different factors that alter the water cycle. So here we have the responsibilities of utilities in relation to climate change. So utilities, so muna sila mga water districts, private water organizations nga mooy ga na ay autonomy over water supply systems. So they should do whatever is necessary to promote water conservation measures and reduce non-revenue water. So, unsa man yung water conservation measures? So, man yung mga techniques, no, nga para makasave tag water. So, like for example, mag-toothbrush ka, turn off the tap kung mag-brush ka, while ga-brush ka sa imong tubig, eh, na din mo siya i-on kung um, human na kag-brush. So, kung manlaba ka, ipalong nimo ang tap kung human na kag-fill sa imuhang tub. Nga na ba? So, those are water conservation measures that can really help big time if we are doing it collectively. So kung tibok community na agyoy water conservation measures, it really can have an impact if done by the whole community, like tibok jud community. Dako na siya og impact class. And then reduce non-revenue water. So non-revenue water is water that is that went through or nagflow through sa ato ang water supply system but was not able to generate income for some reasons. So, example, ani is water theft. So, na illegal connection. So, nag-connect sila, pero wala sila gabayad. So, that is one example of NRW. Water leakage or pipe burstings. Water nga na-leak through due to pipe burstings tungod sa excessive na pressure. So, that is also another example of non-revenue water. So as much as possible, we should keep non-revenue water to a minimum value nga decent po siya nga dili bitaw mahimong um dili siya makapa-apekto sa sustainability sa atong water supply system. It is incumbent on the water system designer to consider the following. First, the location and features of the utilities facilities. So since we already have the issues with climate change. We know that this is really a reality karon. It's actually a global dilemma na all around the globe ginadeal na to ang naka goal pa jud is ang impacts grabe nga impacts sa climate change dito pagiga ka feel sa mga countries nga wala kay contribution to climate change, so that's a very sad fact. But anyway, yeah, so since we already have this dilemma, this global issue, then we have to adapt, no? So, as water supply system designers, we have to be mindful of our design. So, asa na to ginabutang atong facilities, we have to put them in low risk areas. If possible lang na no risk that to gid ibutang, no, especially og kana ang facility it's very expensive like your treatment plant dito ni mo ibutang sa areas na layo sa tawag ani layo sa fault line, dito ni mo ibutang sa low risk sa flood para safe siya, no. So we're expecting extreme weather events from climate change. So that should one of the considerations. And then we have to ensure that the operation of the utility will not harm the ecology. So also this one, no? So we as civil engineers, it is not just development that is our concern or our priority, but we should also look for the environment and sa ako lang ha, this is a personal value. I think that it's really very important that should be our top priority because wala naman tayo lain na planet, no? And we really have to take care of the environment. So, ang ato maghuna-una kay engineers for front sa development. So, buildings, skyscrapers, inana ba? But we also have to look after the planet. So we're really looking forward to the next generations of civil engineers. Sa pagkakaroon, dili pa siguro ninyo na ma-feel class kay mga estudyante pa man mo, but there will come a time when you will be in leading positions and you will be given the power to decide on things, no? And I hope that when the time comes, ayaw ninyo i-trade off ang environment for the sake of development, no? So naay mga pamaagi nga pwede siya mahimuan o balance sa duha. Okay, so here we have the climate change effects to consider. So first is the rising sea level. So I know na-educate na mong tarong ani even from your high school. So one of the effects of climate change is global warming, no? And with global warming, we are expecting a rising of temperature. And actually, this one is very alarming. If you look at the trend of our temperature in history, nagsaka gid siya nagsaka. And then, ang nakahadlok pa jud is ang trend nga gi-project sa scientists, pagbangga nila sa actual nga kakahitabo, way more na temperature pa ang naa sa actual compared sa ilang gi-project. So that one is very alarming, and dili lang pud nato ma-feel because we're not wa maganda nakatoka ana, no, but for those professionals nga gatan-awan na mao gyud na ilang career, so they're really alarmed kung unsa ka fast ang rate sa pagsaka sa atong temperature. So all around the globe na mga areas nga before coastal areas pa karon na occupy na gid sila sa ni creep na gid ang sipas pa inland. So makaapekto siya syempre sa ato because na may mga aquifers good nga duol sa coastal area. So syempre kana nga mga freshwater aquifers o nana ang sea nakaduol na sa iyaha, ang tubig dadto may man brackish, no, so mansudlan na gid siya og salt water, and when that happens wala na game over na sa ato kay we cannot distribute water nga salty or brackish, no. Second is increased saline intrusion into groundwater aquifers. Yeah, so connected na sila duha because when the sea level rises, um, saline intrusion will also happen. And then water treatment challenges. So increased bromide and then the need for desalination. So due to climate change, no, gaka-increase ang substance that we call bromide. So bromide is a naturally occurring substance. It's a salt, a form of salt. And although in itself dili man gid siya harmful, pero once gani nga dari mo siya mo complicate magud din siya pag-abot na sa treatment because here in the Philippines and even sa uban sa gawas, we usually use chlorine for disinfection. But the problem is, once nga ang bromide, ma-mix mo siya sa chlorine, na ay harmful nga byproduct nga produce from the chemical reaction sa duha. So, it is not safe for human health. So, unsa may mahitabuan na, we need to desalinate. And desalination is very, very expensive. Very expensive. So, muna siya, no? That is one of the challenges nato for climate change. And we also have increased risk of direct storm and flood damage to water utility facilities. So, um, with climate change, as I have said, we are also expecting extreme weather events. Kung tanaw ninyo ang mga bagyo na to karon, grabe jud ang intensity compared sa mga bagyo before sa panahon ng mga bata pa ta, no? So that is also one. So of course, our water utility facilities, dili man na sila invincible. So they can also be damaged if ma-expose sila sa um, forces of nature, no? So that should be one of your considerations as designers. And then here we have the effects of warmer climate. So first is the change in the discharge of rivers. So of course, with warmer climate, we have a greater rate of evaporation. No? So from your hydrology, kung tanawin ninyo ang formula sa evaporation, nagid ang temperature. So with greater temperature is greater rate of evaporation, and that will really affect our groundwater storage. No? So um, that one at on groundwater storage, and if lugar we have our water bodies will undergo grabe kadago na evaporation rate, so magkaana mo kagamay ang water, and that changes especially for those very sensitive na mga living organisms can lead to mortalities. And as I have said, if there is mortality, nag especially if it is happening in large scale, it can really affect the water quality because uh, with deaths naman tayo process on of decomposition, and changes in recharge characteristics of major groundwater aquifers due to upstream changes. So mga groundwater aquifers, they are also affected, no, since it is expected na ang mga river discharge um, are also affected. So as I've said, magdomino effect na rin siya from there. And then increased water temperature leading to increased evaporation and eutrophication in surface sources. So eutrophication, this is when mo thrive ang algae. So algae, basta warm gani ang temperature sa tubig, mugara na siya ang algae or ginatawag nato din na algal bloom basta mo sobra na siya og kanang mo sobra na siya kadaghan. So once nga yung algal bloom, um it really affects the ecosystem sulod sa tubig because na may competition ang mga organisms sa oxygen. And aside from that, kung during sa algal bloom, okay pa na siya. But over time, mamatay man gud na sila. So, decomposition na pod. So, pag decompose, guba na pod ang quality sa tubig. And then, water treatment and distribution challenges. So, as I've said, katong desalination and kaning sa erosion, kung natay extreme nga rainfall event, so we're expected nga mo turbid ang tubig. So, for that, naatay mga treatment processes nga kinahanglan i-apply. And of course, that comes at a cost, no? And then increased competing demands for domestic and irrigation. So, makabantay mo og init ang tubig, mas dali ta humon, mas magsige og ligo ang tao. So, it results in greater demand for water. And also with irrigation because mas init, mas paspas man ang pag-evaporate sa tubig. So, mas frequent pod ang pag-irrigate sa mga farmers na to sa mga farms. So yeah, that is also another effect of warmer climate, and then increased urban demand with more heat waves and dry spells. So just connected to the previous point, and then increased drawdown of local groundwater resources. So since we have greater demand for water, so mas mupaspas po ang atong withdrawals atong water. So over time, magdi siya manage og sakto sa mga utilities. So what happens is um mahitabo muubos gid ang atong groundwater and eventually possibly mawala gid siya mo dili na ma-meet sa ato ang groundwater ang atong demand. So okay lang og dara lang taman, so napay land subsidence, no, muubos ang elevation sa imuhang area because wala na may tubig na present underground. So those are the effects of warmer climate. Now, how about the effects of more intense rainfall events? So first, we have the increased turbidity and sedimentation. So once gani nga natay intense na rainfall events, makabantay mo mulubog jud ang tubig, no? So from that, mahimong turbid ang tubig, and we do not want turbidity because first and foremost, people do not like or wala gi wala gi tao, wagi individual nga mo consume og tubig nga lubog. Ikaw pa imong kag tubig nga lubog mo inom lugar ka. So that is from your psychology nga you think nga basta lubog ang tubig, it's not safe for consumption. So that is one consideration, no? So once nga turbid ang tubig, we really have to treat it through the process of sedimentation. Otherwise, um, dili siya i-consume sa atong mga tao. And aside from that, um, ang water pod na turbid is a very good ground for bacteria to thrive. And that is something that we do not want for our water quality. So yeah, that is one of the effects. And then we have the loss of reservoir storage. So kani siya is kanabitang lugar na matay reservoir. So ang reservoir, they can only hold water of a certain amount. So kung ang imuhang reservoir is designed to hold 20 cubic meters of water, so it can really only hold 20 cubic meters of water. And anything greater than that, iyan na siyang i-release through the overflow pipe. So once nga intense kayo imong rainfall, there is a huge chance na mo overflow ang imong reserva. So that is already lost, no, on your part. Kay supposedly kung dili lang unta ingadto ka grabe or ka extreme ang imuhang rainfall, ma-store pa unto siya supposedly. Pero tungod kay extreme man kayo ni overflow ang atong reserva, na-lose na to siya. And then we have water filtration or avoidance treatment challenges. So man siya no, tungod kay dako gyud og chance na maturbid siya. We have dili man gid siya ingon gud nga ma-perfect gid sa sedimentation process. So after the sedimentation kana mo na siyang ipasettle ang water sa usa ka tank so that the solids will be katong mga particles nga cause of turbidity sa imong tubig mo settle siya paubos. So sedimentation is not enough, especially for extreme good na turbidity, level of turbidity. So we need to also incorporate filtration. So that is also another challenge, no? And then increased risk of direct flood damage to water utility facilities. So man to siya kang ganiha. If maabtan og flood ang imuhang facilities and they don't come cheap, no? Mahal ang mga water utility facilities. So yeah, that is also another challenge on the designers of water supply systems. So we have here suggested strategies to mitigate risks from climate change. So first, meter all production and connections. So this is para ma-maximize ang possible na makuha na tong revenue from people. So that can be huge aid para sa ato ang operation and maintenance and even eventual na upgrading in the future, no, if nakasagad na ta sa atong design period. And then reduce non-revenue water. So as much as possible, we repair leakages, pipe burstings immediately or as much as possible, as quick as possible, ma-repair gid siya to reduce non-revenue water. And then monitoring, no, to prevent water theft. Demand management through tariff design. So kaning pasabot ani is kana betang we design our tariff nga dili lang kay affordability alone atong ginatanaw, but we're designing our tariff in a way that the water is ma-afford siya, but also at the same time makita sa tao ang value sa tubig nga dili niya kalasan. So you have to strike a balance between the two. So ang affordability og ang kumbaga ang sense of value nga ma-impose sa tariff sa tao. Nga dili po niya kalasan, di mga kaskasan mo, almost libre na naman ganing tubig diri sa mo kay barato raman. So wala siya kumbaga wala siya effort no para mo conserve tungod kay barato raman gid sobra ra pud kay kabarato ang tubig. So ina na siya. Dissemination of water conservation tips to consumers. So i-educate no ang mga consumers. So namoy mga um, website, social media nga mga accounts sa inyong water utility. So you disseminate water conservation tips to educate the consumers. Okay, so design of facilities. If possible, have at least two sources of supply at different locations. So ang purpose ani is if ang isa maguba na pa kay isa nga spare ay na pa kay isa nga kumbaga dili siya ma down tanan. So napa kay alternate hindi siya alternative napaka extra no. So kung maguba ang isa na pa kay isa di gid nga completely mawala ang imuhang service. Build superstructures above high floodline level. So if you have superstructures, you really have to um, build it in a location that is low risk, especially for floods. Adopt energy efficiency programs and where possible, select facilities which require less power consumption. So if possible, na gravity powered lang ang imuhang water supply systems, then do so, no? Only incorporate pumps nga kana betang kinahanglan gyud. So naputay mga technologies karon no like hydraulic ram pump nga it just uses the energy from the water flow para makapump siya tubig. So if you like you can look into this device. It's very innovative. very intuitive. Bright kayo ang naka-discover ani hydraulic gram pump. So look that up. Monitor wells near coastlines to prevent salinization. So this is very important for freshwater aquifers that are near the coastline because they have the highest risk for saline intrusion, and we do not want to deliver water that is brackish or salty. No, so kana siya monitoring lang pod, and then if climate change causes sea levels to rise, aquifers can suffer from salinization. So muna to kung kingan kaganiha. Utilization of renewable energy sources. So if it's possible for you to use there is ato ang pinakadali ra gid is solar, no? So if you can incorporate no solar na energy source sa inyong water supply system, then do so, no? That is very good for our environment. And then we have reforestation of watersheds. So join or initiate community programs for watershed reforestation. So kung pwede mo, ang inyong utility is maka-arrange of tree planting activities, that's very good, no? Very aligned with your organization's mission. No? Enlist assistance from NGOs and the LGU units. So pwede mo makig-partner sa inyong LGU or other non-government organizations that are very active or naka-align pod sa inana ng mga missions. Enlist the support of the community in protecting the watersheds. This one is very important, no, because ang locals man gyud good mo naagi potential to care for or to destroy the environment kung asa sila. So sila man na sa watersheds, so sila gid mo na dako kayo nga potential para mag-care for it. Kita as professionals working in this sector, di man ta 24/7 or bisag 8 hours lang a day. Di man ta dadto gid magstay, no? Dadto man ta sa tong opisina. So ang mga locals gid mo maka-care for their environment. So educate and then uh, ask for their support. Mitigation of disaster effects, so formation of a disaster response committee. So kanina naman ni karon sa itong mga munisipyo o cities kay ko naman ni siya, gi-impose na magini siya sa itong mga MDRRMO, CDRRMO. So muna sila ilahang um, ilang function. Networking with multi-sectoral organizations. So if you can find organizations that also have the same interests as yours, so network with them and you can arrange for activities, no? Okay, so these are examples of non-government organizations like Harbon Foundation, WWF, and Waves for Water, UN Waters, daga na sila. So, pwede po mo magpa-member ani nga mga organizations, no? So, there is a way to become part na. You can also be volunteers for these organizations. That is very good. Okay, so that's it for today's session. So it's still 10:19. We still have more than 10 minutes. So I will just check the attendance for those students na wala na notice